Good morning, everybody. Honorable Lakshmi Naidu, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade. His Excellency Ambassador Sun, my very good friend Mr. Hu, who is the leader of the Chinese delegation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Well, to start with, good morning. Well, we all know why we are here. So we are meeting here for the third round of negotiations on the free trade agreement between Mauritius and China. I have to say that so far we have made very good progress in the negotiations. Under the leadership of Mr. Hu and his team, I think that we have had an excellent, at least so far, excellent working relations. We have got a common understanding, we have set a goal together, and we are working towards achieving this goal. And I think that, as I said, in that process, we have been able to make very good progress. Today, we start the third round of negotiations here in Mauritius. And our objective is now to move another step forwards towards conclusion of the negotiations, well, let's say as soon as possible. And I think that if we have got the will on both the sides, on the side of Mauritius and of course on the Chinese side, so I take it that we shall be able to achieve this objective. And this is what we will try to do here in Mauritius. So without much ado, let me invite my good friend Mr. Hu to come and make his statement.
Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade, Mr. Lakshmi Naidu, and Permanent Secretary, Mr. Dabi, Director, Ms. Budu, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. The Chinese delegation is greatly honored and pleased to follow the successful visit of President Xi to Mauritius 2 weeks ago for this third round of the negotiations for China-Mauritius Free Trade Agreement. On behalf of the whole Chinese delegation, I would like to express our sincere thanks to Honorable Minister for your presence today at this opening session. This is an impressive demonstration of the great importance that the government of Mauritius and your Honorable Minister personally attach to this FTA. And it also reciprocates the great efforts that the Chinese government has made to accelerate the negotiation process. Let me also thank my counterpart, Mr. Budu, and the members of the Mauritius team This is not only for the great hospitality that we always enjoy in the visits here, but more for the tremendous efforts that you have made together with us to move the negotiations thus far to this important stage within only 2 months' time. Honorable Minister, colleagues, President Xi's visit to Mauritius brings not only new impetus to China-Mauritius friendly ties, it triggers another round of Chinese people's enthusiasm towards your heaven-like beautiful country. Hundreds of millions of Chinese people in China witnessed from TV the thoughtful arrangement of the grand ceremony receiving President Xi. And we all felt the profound friendship that the Mauritius people have towards the Chinese people. It is therefore the Chinese delegation's hope that we, together with your efforts, can further strengthen this long-lasting friendship between our two countries and peoples by establishing at an early date the free trade area between our two countries. As President Xi wrote when he was in Prime Minister Jagannath's residence, we, the two countries, should always support each other and we should always work towards common development. Honorable Minister, colleagues, the China-Mauritius FTA is now one of the most important issues between our two nations to further enhance our bilateral relationship. As China's first FTA arrangement with an African counterpart, it is also of great significance in promoting Africa's economic, trade, and investment cooperation with China. President Xi and Prime Minister Jagannath brought up this important issue several times during their meeting, in which your Honorable Minister and my Minister, Minister of Commerce, Mr. Zhong Shan, were present. The two leaders acknowledged the progress made thus far and expressed their hope that our two teams will work closely with accelerated efforts to advance the negotiations with the aim to achieving a comprehensive, high-level, and mutually beneficial FTA in the near future. Prime Minister Jagannath will visit China early September and participate in the Forum of China-African Cooperation, Beijing Summit. It was further instructed that both teams explore sound solutions to the issues remaining, including the key concern of the Mauritius side. Honorable Minister, colleagues, thanks to the two previous successful rounds of negotiations, we are at the stage where the framework of our agreement has taken shape, and the pending issues have been clearly locked and focused. It is high time that we concentrate our efforts on these issues, which are already known and even at our leaders' level. We should avoid disturbing surprises of new issues popping up at this last stage. The Chinese delegation is ready to discuss trading goods, trading services, investment, economic and technical cooperation and other areas covered by this FTA and reach more consensus with Mauritius colleagues through this round. We hope to pave the way for a final breakthrough, which, if finally realized with our wisdom, will bring an end to this negotiation and reach our common goal. For that, my delegation look forward to receiving Mauritius colleagues by the end of August for a final efforts for an early conclusion of our FTA. I thank you.
Thank you, my friend. I think that, well, we have set now the objective, trying to conclude the next round, and I think that this is quite a laudable objective which we have set. We should strive to ensure that we do achieve this objective. Before I give the floor to Honorable Vishnu Dashminarayadu, let me tell you that I know the Minister, he's extremely passionate about China, not only about the FTA, but passionate about the country itself. And I think that he has been very instrumental at the level of the ministry. First, to make sure that we embark in the negotiations, also to make sure that we achieve certain very set targets that will really help in the development of both Mauritius and China, the further development of the two countries. And also to ensure that through this agreement, which we are going to conclude, that it is really going to be a model, not only in this part of the world, but also for the whole of Africa, given the fact that this FTA, the first one that China is negotiating with an African countries. And my friend, you have said it very well, that we need to have an ambitious agreement that captures the interest of both countries and also addresses the concerns of both countries. And I think that we are very much on the same page on this one. So with these words, let me now, in fact, I've got the honor to invite Honorable Dashminarayadu to share with us his thoughts and his aspirations. And as I said, he's very passionate, so his passion as well. Thank you, please.
Your Excellency, Hu Yingche, Your Excellency, Ambassador of China in Mauritius, Ambassador Sun Kung Yi, I made it this time. And Excellencies present, ladies and gentlemen, and more especially our guests coming from China. We are, in fact, having the responsibility, both Mauritius and China, to materialize, to give substance to a friendship, to a love affair between our two countries, which has been here for so long. China and Mauritius is a beautiful story of friendship and love. So it is based on this principle of working together in the interest of each country that we need to find a solution. And the solution today is extremely important. I attach importance to two agreements, not one. Number one is naturally the free trade agreement between China and Mauritius. And number two is the Road and Belt Initiative, where President Xi himself invented, that's what he said himself, he said at the time when he thought about the Road and Belt Initiative, he never thought that the project would reach that level in terms of project. I call it a pharaonic project because only those who build pyramids will do projects like this, huge one, but also because it implies that China wants to play more and more a positive and substantial role when it comes to the development of the whole planet. Small Mauritius, we are small when it comes to the land, but when it comes to the state of Mauritius, the ocean state of Mauritius, we are a continent of 2.3 million square kilometers. This is Mauritius. Small but huge. And if there's one country in Africa which can act as a transmission belt, as a connecting link between China and Africa, that's Mauritius. There's no second country. We're the only country in Africa that can play this role of being the transmission belt between the philosophy of China and the vision of Africa. That's us. So this is where we are today. A new world, a new planet which is developing, where what we call the centers of power are moving away from the West to the East, where the East wants to be present in world affairs, which is quite normal, where Africa no longer wants to be the forgotten continent, the continent that exists but which don't exist also. Ambition for the future. It's on this basis and the deep respect that we all need to have for all those concerned, respect for Africa, respect for Mauritius, respect for China, and respect for the rest of the planet, that we are building those two initiatives. One, the Road and Belt Initiative, and two, the first free trade agreement that China is having with Africa. Africa means 55 states, 55. And we are, I don't know whether this is Port Bonheur, also that in China, the figures, I hope that 5-5 comes after 8-8 in terms of chance and good luck. But it's 55 countries involved in the whole thing. Objective, we don't have time. We don't have time because in the next 2 weeks, I think it is in the deepest interest, the deepest passion of China and Mauritius and the Prime Minister of Mauritius will attend the summit of FOCAC in Beijing. That this be the day when we sign both the FOCAC agreement and also the free trade agreement. That's huge. And the responsibility, I'm sorry, lies on you who are here. To ensure that we work fast enough to meet the target. Target is end of August, we are the 13th of August. But I know that His Excellency, who with here is a fast mover. I've listened to you, and I know that you decide and you discuss quickly. And on our side, we have Mr. Boudou, who is famous for that. His capacity to lead discussions and to conclude discussions. But the time lag is very short. And His Excellency, the Chinese ambassador in Mauritius, a friend of mine, knows of what I'm speaking. We just spoke about it just before coming here, that we have a deadline which is end of August. And you said it, Your Excellency, you said it, that you are prepared to receive the delegation of Mauritius end of August. I have registered. We've registered. Which means, therefore, that in the next 3 days, we are being asked not to waste time and to agree as quickly as possible on the substance of what should be a free trade agreement. We never said that a free trade agreement should spell out quotas, should spell out quantities, should spell out number of scholarships. No. An FTA is a frame agreement that shows the way forward. And within this way forward, it depends on us as annexed to the main document, have annexures where we add in specific decisions when it comes to scholarship, when it comes to Chinese medicine in Mauritius, when it comes to sugar, you call it. And I think also that the level of good faith is there. It makes no sense that we sign an agreement if behind this agreement there is no good faith. When I speak of good faith, I speak of two issues which very often make the best agreement paper for the dustbin. One is when it becomes the definition of terms of rules of origin. We can make the rules of origin so complex that even if we say in public we've opened the market, nothing will go through. Because the rules of origin can be an obstacle to the philosophy behind the signature. The second thing is what I call non-tariff barriers. It makes no sense that we announce that as from today, Mauritius will open totally to exports from China if we put inside this decision non-tariff barriers. I take one example. Import permits. We can sign any document. We can open the market as much as we want. If one government says, yes, you know, you will be able to export, let us say, special sugar to China, but you need an import permit. And maybe that the import permit will never come. Or we can say in the case of Mauritius also, those are what we call non-tariff barriers. They are barriers. The word is the word, barrier is a barrier. A barrier means I want to stop you. So how can we open up and then say, I want to stop you? So most agreements on this planet Earth have been signed with good intentions, but also with a fear that we will open up, but we have to be very careful. So we stop them at the first occasion. I would love this FTA to be a real FTA. To be an FTA where we show that we mean business. That when we say it's a free trade agreement, whether it be for the movement of goods, of services, of people, we mean it. We don't sign it by saying, well, we are going to allow free movement of goods except a list of 5,000 items. No, we won't say we are going to open the market for services, but then say those services, you know, is in the annexure, it's 25 pages, where you exclude everything from the services. Or you say free movement of people, okay, but then free movement of people only for professionals. And among the professionals, only professionals who are in the field of artificial intelligence. We are dead. My message to you is that when we are working through this document, let us put there our heart. Let us put there our firm commitment that China and Mauritius is a love story that is here to stay well beyond us. And that we are here as human beings to work together and to add the block, the structure that will make finally Mauritius, China, an example for the rest of the world. An example of friendship, an example of common interest, an example of win-win situation. That's, I think, what I feel about it. And coming to the last issue. The last issue is very simple. I find a delegation from China, and I see very serious faces on both sides. But we Mauritius, we have one thing. When I go to Beijing, I love food. Ambassador soon know about it. I love good food. Well, when you come here, I invite you to work hard, but also to spend some time enjoying Mauritius. So I wish the whole meeting to be a totally successful meeting, and that on Wednesday, when we meet at the level of Ambassador Sung and myself, that we say, I am sending a delegation from Mauritius that will be led by Mr. Boudou on the 28th of August to fine-tune the agreement that will be signed in the presence of the Prime Minister of Mauritius during the FOCAC meeting. That's the objective. And I know that you can make it. So let's make it together. On these words, it is a pleasure for me to declare open this, I'm sure, this last session, or last but one session, that will finally end up in the signature of the FTA in Beijing on the 1st or 2nd of September. Thank you.
Just small token of appreciation. Mr. Please.
I don't know. It looks like this is special sugar.
No, I'll make it run. Okay, thank you, Honorable Minister. I think that you have said it all. And the objective is to have an agreement which is really ambitious and which makes economic sense without barriers. And the good thing is that both the Chinese side and the Mauritius side, we have set exactly the same objective, and we are working precisely towards such a comprehensive agreement. So with this, let me thank all of you. So we have come to the end of the opening ceremony.
Minister, third round of negotiations for the FTA, and it's a proud moment for Mauritius because Mauritius is the first country in Africa.
Yes, in fact, I wish to confirm that Prime Minister Jagat will be in China and will attend the FOCAC meeting at the beginning of September. This visit of the Prime Minister in China implies a total commitment of Mauritius when it comes to the working relationship and the friendship that unites China and Mauritius. So what we are trying to do now is something very specific. China and Mauritius are working together for the signature of a free trade agreement, which is the first free trade agreement that China will be signing with an African country. I just remind you that we are 55 African countries. So the FTA, which is being negotiated now, will be the first FTA China and Mauritius, and we have set as objective that Prime Minister Jagat and President Sheikh would be present somewhere at the moment of the ratification, the signature and ratification of this agreement. And naturally, we are also committed to the huge project. It goes well beyond a project, to the huge vision of China, to the huge vision of President Xi himself when it comes to the Road and Belt Initiative. I must tell you one thing that Mauritius share with China, the vision on the Road and Belt Initiative. We are also working together to ensure that somewhere down the road we can also sign and ratify the agreement between Mauritius and China when it comes to the Road and Belt Initiative. That's huge. That's huge because we are speaking of projects that will change the face of Mauritius when it comes to us, but that will also end up into Mauritius being a real transmission belt for Chinese investment, for Chinese transfer of know-how to Africa through Mauritius. In fact, this is our vision, this is our role, this is our mission, that Mauritius becomes the stepping stone, the transmission belt for other countries that wish to invest in Africa. That's where we are, and it would be a pleasure for me to invite the official representative of China, the Deputy Director General of the Ministry of Commerce, who has got full powers for negotiation as head of the team of China and Mauritius. Excellency.
So its impact is in the relationship between China and Mauritius.
Of course, this FTA is so important, and it has also been a problem when the two leaders of our two countries had the meeting. We certainly have to face the great challenges ahead. We believe that there is an opportunity. We should make the efforts, and we should do the try. And for the visit of the Prime Minister of China, I think we need to prepare for the final breakthrough. However, I mean, all the things depends on the wisdom of the two teams. Thank you very much.
Thank you.